Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIII. So,
Pedro,
yes, Jova.
where are we going exactly?
Well, right now we're right now we're on Datalog.
I get that, but where are the group as a whole going?
Oh, trust me, Jova. I know where you're going with that, but trust me. I think we should reserve that argument for later because it's gonna get even more obvious that they have no fucking plan. But
Pretty much.
it will be. Trust me, Jova. There will be plenty of opportunities to delve even deeper into that. We'll have better opportunities than right now. Anyway, this is basically this necklace that Snow offered to Sarah as an engagement gift, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we already saw this. Okay, I wanted to mention something that I didn't get to mention in the previous part. Yeah, the fal'Cie. The fal'Cie's only method of quote-unquote telling you what to do is by giving you a brief little flash. This is, without a doubt, the worst storytelling decision on this entire game, and that's saying something. Why?
And mind you, it's intentional. It's not even like a thing that just happened, but they did not thought this through, the writers. They actually, constructed precisely this way.
Yeah,
It
basically.
is incredibly narratively
Oh, here it is.
frustrating.
For fal'Cie, successful completion of a focus holds the promise of eternal life in the peaceful slumber of crystal stasis, or so the legends say. Yet to spend an eternity as an immobile crystal is not so very different from death. The people of Cocoon consequently fear being marked as fal'Cie, equating the fal'Cie brand as a death sentence. Well, I can see that. But anyway, yeah.
For some reason, you're naked when you become crystal.
And this already, and there you go, this is the brief flash that they got of Ragnarok. So, okay, what does that mean? Ragnarok what? Are we supposed to kill Ragnarok? Are we supposed to save Ragnarok? Are we supposed to talk to it? Like, see, you see what I mean? These fal'Cie, which puts the villains of this game, the fal'Cie, in a very silly, stupid position. These, as Spoonie put it very well in his vlog review, these fal'Cie are fucking idiots. If they want to get shit done.
Or at the very least, assholes.
allow me to pretty much put out the formula for how it goes. So a fal'Cie brands you. You now effectively work for that fal'Cie.
Yeah.
Which means you now have the magic and powers to do that. You would think that your boss would give you clear instructions on what to do. Instead, the fal'Cie go, bam, here's a mysterious image that doesn't explain crap, and then they vanish off and go, I'm mysterious.
Basically.
Well, okay. To be fair, the one that just did it kind of faffed off because it died for some reason.
And if at any point you fuck up, you turn into this abomination with no recovery whatsoever, mind you. Becoming a thief is even worse than a death sentence because there's like a one chance in a gajillion to actually attain a minimal of sanity. And you will see later that doesn't make things even better. So it's just like real life, where the rules constantly changes and your bosses are assholes and just can't wait to fire you.
Speaking of
I
fal'Cie,
know what you're saying. I know what you're
Oh,
thinking.
this Anima.
this fal'Cie has been hibernating deep within the Bohdum vestige. It befriended Sarah as well as Lightning, Snow, and the others. Although it appears Anima was brought to Cocoon in the vestige centuries ago, Sanctum Salvardis had no knowledge of the alien stowaway's presence. Yeah, the Sanctum are fucking idiots. Apparently this thing has been hidden in Cocoon for centuries, but nobody ever found it. It's like
we kind of get a reason for why it was under their noses this whole time. I'd still argue that explanation will lead to just more questions.
No, but there is a good explanation, but it's just it's not even like a case where it's contrived. It's just a case unnecessarily overcome.
And that's what. Okay, remember.
Speaking of said explanation, now I know what some of you may be thinking. Well, maybe the fal'Cie can only show that image because they can't properly communicate with humans. And you know what? That might have been a good explanation.
Yeah.
Shame that the story is later going to shoot that explanation dead out in the street.
Yeah, but yeah. For most of the game, Dwebs and Edge, most players would assume, okay, so I'm guessing this is the best they can do because they can talk. Okay, fine. But let's just say everybody, yeah, like Jova said, the game will confirm that that's not even the true, so yeah, this is incredibly even stupider even in hindsight. But
Final Fantasy XIII is literally one of those stories that just gets worse the deeper you go in, because at least at the start, you could maybe formulate some ideas that are way better than the actual answers you're gonna get, and that's when the story's not busy already contradicting past plot points, as I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Speaking of the past, Tio, I believe you...
Actually, no, not yet. Pedro first wanted to say something, and then I have something else entirely to say, too.
Oh, go on, Pedro.
It's like this, okay? okay, you can't. This is the main reason why I was making that joke from the previous part of what's the plot. I don't know. It's because again, the fal'Cie don't tell us anything. As a result, the plot has no stakes because we have no idea what our heroes, quote unquote, are shooting. What's their hero's goal? The essential thing about the two essential core things about a hero's journey is the hero himself or herself and the hero's goal. Since the heroes have no goal, as they themselves will admit it over and over throughout this game, there's literally nothing to be invested in this plot. There's literally no, because you don't know what's a bad thing and what's a good thing because you have no idea what the goal is. You have no idea if like, let's say for example, if right now they decide to kill themselves for whatever reason, like we don't know if that's a bad thing in the context of this story because for all we know, maybe that's their focus. You know?
Sure. Come to think of it, if a l'Cie kills themselves, will they be free of the curse of becoming a
No,
Sith?
they become Sith because we have cases later on, even if it's not explicitly said. If I recall correctly, some of the stones that give you missions do tell you that they are l'Cies that try to commit suicide.
Quickly before Teo speaks.
Again, that's okay. You know, to be fair,
But it's something that's way later down the line. I don't even remember if it's something that we can actually see or not.
I just have one more. Sorry.
Sorry, go on, Pedro.
Just one more thing before Teo says what he wants to say. Storytelling 101, writing 101. Your story is created via the struggles that your hero has to endure in his pursuit of his or her goal. You know, that's basic storytelling. If you don't know the goal of the character, then there is no possible way there can be struggle because the struggle is entirely inherently tied to said goal. You know?
Honestly, it kind of makes me wonder, how did the fal'Cie get anything done if their minions were, well, this much in the dark?
Alright, Teo, go ahead.
Okay, that's probably reserved for later, Joe, because it probably can be potential plot point. But
yeah.
Hold on. First of all, tied to what Pedro just said, like I mentioned in the previous part, that's the key. The two key words of the themes of the story are faith and knowledge. The characters at this point are in second term, as in they have to learn what their focus is, because again, the fal'Cie have this foolproof method of instilling their knowledge, which again, I have to remind you, it's intentional this way. The literal god of his universe designed these beings, these demigod-like beings, with this exact feature in mind. That's important to know, you know. And then the question will be about faith, as in what do you trust a decision? Do you believe it's good or bad because you don't have sufficient knowledge to determine potentially based on someone's opinion, and you think to take a stand by yourself? That will be later. Again, though, like Pedro said, this is poorly convened, and the pace, combined with the pacing and the distillation of the information that the player does get, especially via the data at the beginning, it's again another thing that gets thrown in the cauldron and contributes to the non-enjoyment about the story. But let me also mention what I wanted to say also in the previous part.
Go on.
This is a good question. This is a good point, actually, because we're using that. I mentioned that the devs incorporated the shops in the save points, and they were. It's not been a thing like they were actually said they were inexperienced or something like that. No. They wanted to have a proper justification in interview, and they mentioned, and Pedro did mention this in the near round, but for the convenience of Vives, new audience, they claim in interviews that with this new technology, it's just impossible to create new towns with NPCs.
Teo, remind me again, what was that game that was published by Namco Bandai that came out just right after this one?
I can give you 3 that came out around the same time. Tales of Vesperia, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, and in-house from Square, thanks to Tri-Ace, Star Ocean: The Last Hope.
Yeah.
So even Square were showing themselves up.
Oh, but don't you see, Jova? Tri-Ace doesn't really count. We'll just incorporate them for the sequels and basically enslave them, taking them away from their work.
It's because the reason I was
for the record, what I think I can paraphrase from that statement would be that with the Crystal Tool engine, this wouldn't not be much possible, and that I can believe because both for 13.2 and Lightning Returns, we did get some semblance of town with NPCs, but in Lightning Returns, as you can imagine, if you remember, if you saw our run, it's a clusterfuck in all imaginable way.
Not to mention, Teo, allow me to add, remember, there was also one point, the reason I pointed out to Quinny 1 was because people were that was a direct response to where's the world map, as in the world map we saw in the PS1 games. And the thing is, Teo, they actually gave another, aside from that response they just gave about the whole, it's not possible. You're just only telling half the story, Teo. They specifically said that one of the big reasons why they didn't put in towns is because, and I'm quoting here, we couldn't make them as visually appealing as the rest of the game. Now, allow me to remind you of Naoki Yoshida's now legendary quote about Square Enix during this time: an unhealthy obsession with graphics. Yeah, Yoshida. Yeah, it's a great demonstration of how Yoshida. That quote that Yoshida is now famous. That famous Yoshida quote. You know, the director of Final Fantasy 14. It was a direct reference to this game, actually.
If I may
that
elaborate.
was more towards 14 1.0.
No. 14 1.0 had its own can of worms, Dwebs. That was a whole nother ballpark.
I think it's applicable both ways because of the Crystal Tool engine, but go on, Jova.
If I may elaborate, what Pedro's getting is the fact that Square had such an obsession with pretty graphics that unless something was the absolute top of the line here, they just wouldn't bother. Now I know what you're thinking. Maybe they wanted to try their best.
Oh, he's letting gonna punch Snow again.
All right,
I forgot when it happened.
Get yourself ready, Dwebs.
To stop it. To keep Cocoon safe. Yeah, why don't you give us one reason to believe that?
Give me one.
Again, Faith, supposedly.
She said to protect Cocoon.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Snow. She's not the fal'Cie. It's the fal'Cie that decides that, not Sarah.
She completed
I suppose his logic is that it was Sarah's purpose to gather them all together and then tell them that their purpose was to protect the Cocoon because the fal'Cie can't really communicate.
Yeah, he's saying that we were burned by the same fal'Cie Sarah was, but
What the hell it does? You're grasping at straws, son.
Honestly,
take a shot.
He seems to have a better idea than any of you. Look. You know what? Snow may be an idiot, but hey guys, if you have any better ideas.
That line is so funny considering what happens in 13.2.
Hey guys, for the record, we're already at 5 shots in total in this playthrough.
We have the power to save Cocoon.
5 times, Dwebs. They've said it.
No, Lightning, you just need to punch him. Come on.
Freeze!
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, Snow is being really stupid right now, Lightning, but I don't think the answer is to cut his throat.
Yeah, that's the thing. At least he's trying. All Lightning's done so far is be mopey and wave a sword around.
Oh, hold on, no, this is gonna be their attempt at coolness factor. Yeah.
You might notice that a lot of times Lightning loves to raise her hand. That's because, again, one of Toriyama's fetishes and full extension a lot of Japanese audience is for armpits. Look, as Pedro said also for other similar cases, it's perfectly fine, but it starts becoming noticeable very quickly.
I'm aware of the meme.
Yeah.
You say it's about as obvious as Tarantino's foot fetish.
Yes,
but here's the thing. Okay, this is basically an explanation of manual commands, where you can just pick abilities and pick the abilities yourself instead of the auto battle picking for you, so it's not really that much of an interesting thing to talk about. Dwebs, you constantly talk about in our playthroughs how you hate repetition in scripts. How's this? We're only 6 parts into this JRPG, and we've already had 5 different occasions where the characters have said the exact same thing that falls.
The ratio has been almost not, but almost one per part.
Yes, and like you say so often with things like this page, guess what? I don't like it here either.
Exactly.
In fact,
Definitely.
Actually, though, I don't think time when it happens, when the game comes out really matters. It's bad no matter when you do it.
Sure.
Because it kind of implies that you don't think, oh, this dumb player's not going to get it, so we'll just repeat it numerous times and there will be no chance they won't get it.
Do not worry. This game was ragged on for it back when it released too.
Trust me.
Maybe not as unanimously, but
trust me, Dwebs. If you went through the entire trilogy of games with us, by the time we were done, we would go right back to Takahashi and go, Takahashi, thank you for at least not being as like Toriyama, at least.
Oh my god. You know what's bad, Dwebs, honestly? I've seen the Purging trilogy as a whole. This game is undeniably the best of them.
And that's saying something, right?
Yeah, it is. What are you doing, Saza?
What are you doing?
And yes, Vanille has that same similar hand thing. It's kind of like Elise's.
Princess Elisa.
It's like what Princess Elise does with the whole,
Okay, if I recall correctly, it is a gesture from where she comes from, but it's just there for the sake of it.
Cut the crap.
No, you may have just killed these rookies.
Elites are cold-blooded.
It's an interesting thing, Jova. I have a point to make about what you just said, but I'll wait for when it becomes relevant.
Yeah. Then let's run away. Ciao.
Stop it!
You know what? I said it before.
I know, right?
Before, and I'll say it again, guys. Brag on Snow as much as you want. He seems to have the best idea out of any of you.
Don't get me wrong.
But Jeremy, that would imply anyone else has an idea.
Don't get me wrong. Snow is an idiot, and I've already said so myself just a couple minutes before. But the thing is, nobody is even trying to help by correcting him. They're just telling, "Oh, you're stupid." Okay, yes, he's stupid.
Saz is.
Oh yeah, Saz is. That's okay. Saz aside, that's true. But that's the thing. Saz is not coming up.
Saz is like the one good character.
Okay.
It's just rolling with
How about this? Okay. How about this? Let's put Saz out of the equation right now, since he's the best character. He gets exempt from the criticism right there. There you go. Saz is here now. Okay. Nobody else is, especially Lightning, is even trying to come up with a better idea. And don't get me wrong, Snow's idea is stupid. His logic makes no sense. That is true. But at the same time, Lightning's reaction is not even just a simple, "Oh, come on, you're being an idiot. Think about what you're saying." No. Instead, she literally takes out a fucking sword and puts it next to his throat. Like, are you a fucking psychopath, Lightning? Yes, Shirei?
Which character is the narrator for Lightning Returns?
Lightning herself. Lightning herself.
No, who's the one who won't shut the fuck up?
Lightning.
No, there's somebody talking
The girl.
over it.
The other girl.
You mean Lumina? No, Lumina's not the narrator, but yeah, she's the one that keeps showing up over and over. Yeah, Lumina.
No, I thought it was Snow or Hope that won't shut the fuck up.
No.
Oh, no. Hold on, guys.
Some exposition.
Allow me. I think I know what Shiro is talking about. You mean that time, Shiro, when we're in that white room and Hope is talking over and over and over and over?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a reason to crap on him then.
Yeah, that's Hope. But we're not at that game for now, so.
And we get the characters introducing themselves during the during dialogue where
Bohdum security.
Rude. Also, Pedro, you raised the question.
Anybody's guess.
Also,
Yeah, that's obviously for later.
to go on for what Shiro said. Yes. You're probably wondering, what the fuck is this performance by Vanille's voice actress? I have no clue, because the directors thought this would be... But we'll get into it for now. Let's just go.
Dragged into this. I'll keep the kids out.
Although Dreams raised a good point about how, the characters
this is one of Saz's theme with an harmonica
Yeah.
for some reason.
Anyway, like Dreams mentioned though, you'd think that they would have included the characters introducing themselves in like a main cutscene, but no, it's in that place during gameplay. And you know what? That's not inherently bad. The problem is that if you proceed too far, it'll get cut off essentially. Like, why not actually have that be a main cutscene?
It might have been.
I have no idea.
I mean, it'd be like if
Not so
Cloud
sure
and
anymore.
the characters in Final Fantasy VII only talked about it when they were leaving the bar, and you could easily miss the scene.
That's a good point.
Also- Also, they revealed that Lightning is actually not actually Lightning's real first name. No, that's a mystery.
Well,
I don't know.
I can understand what they're going for, but I'll explain later. That's a good point.
I don't remember if it's actually explained in the game. I think it might be in the data, but I don't think it's actually done in. She took actually the nickname to actually separate herself.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into that too later. But
Sorry. Well, I don't not telling what their name is, but you raised a question before about Lightning potentially being psychopathic just for reacting by was no said. She was literally, she literally only knew how to be raised in a military academy for this kind of government. I'm gonna say yes.
Oh yeah.
You were gonna say
okay.
And that would be fine, Teo. And that would be fine, Teo, if the game did something with that flaw of hers, but they don't. Yes, Dwebs?
Well, sorry, I'll mention later.
You were gonna say something, Pedro.
That's a good point, Dwebs. But at the same time, did you know that pulseless sea are enemies of Cocoon?
No, okay, I am not drinking. The game has to say it.
I know.
The game has it, Pedro. Don't make it worse.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. She has lost her sister and become a pulseless sea, an enemy of Cocoon. There you go. Take a shot.
Okay. Is now a good time for me to bring up something, or do you want to read all these files?
Hold on, let me see. Now Ulysses himself, Snow interprets his fiance's last word. No, not an enemy of Cocoon. Go on.
Okay, so it's funny we were just seeing Lightning's profile there. Here's the big problem with Lightning. They don't give us any idea of what she was like before she joined the military or whatnot. And even still, I do get your point to you, but again, I would argue that cutscenes that we see later and suggest that just because she was in the military doesn't mean that she's raised with this bloodthirsty means of command here and there. We've seen that she is empathetic to her men. She does not necessarily think that the first option is to cut everything down. So her acting like this is still nonsensical as far as I'm concerned.
I was about to elaborate. Again, Lightning's struggle right now, and sadly for a long while, is gonna be internal. She has become literally what she was literally instructed and indoctrinated to hang down for a long time. She wasn't already liking Snow from before, so her reaction before is more instinctive than anything. But as you can imagine, it's also about herself. Hence also why when the soldiers actually pointed a gun, instead of actually resisting to that, she actually tried to surrender. Because she had any kind of naive hope, sorry for the pun, that she could actually work things out when she can. We can't, because people in this fucking death world, as soon as become branded, we might as well be dead because of how the government goes. And the problem is the fact that the game tries to be very minimalistic about it, and as a result, considering also the humongous amount of information that you have to read already on the data log, it's something that can completely pass over your head.
So I'll say this to you, that is a very, very, very good thesis you made on this. However, the only conclusion I can take from it is that you're a better writer than the writers of this game, because I would argue this game is not...
I'm only using information that the game has, Joe. I'm not writing a fan fiction.
Remember, Jova.
Go on. Did you want to?
Remember, Jova. As demonstrated by our run of that game, Teo is on the level of a compile heart writer because he writes just like them based on what his guesses in that game.
Anyway, the thing is, Teo, what you suggested is a good idea, but the game does not portray that well at all. Like, let me put it like this. It's to a point where I feel like you would deserve a script writing credit, because what you suggested about Lightning is not portrayed well at all in the game.
It is not.
From what we see of Lightning, she's selfish at worst, a moron at the best, because that's when she's not being despicable, and as we're going to see in a certain cutscene, which I really had a go in the original run, she's awful. Yeah. Absolutely awful. And no amount of happy cutscene excuses the crap that she does. I
just want to mention something about Gallant Thisley, but go on, finish.
And again, just to cap it off, she seems to have no qualms between killing those who used to be under her command. Like, at least with Cloud, he was distant from the soldiers for a reason. Lightning... Again,
he also actually had actual mental problems.
Yeah, that too. Lightning, on the other hand, though, as we'll see in a later cutscene, the whole her ending up in the purging was a spur-of-the-moment thing, so her suddenly being okay with cutting down her men makes no sense whatsoever.
But you see, she's hot, so it's perfectly justified.
That's Toriyama's logic, yes.
Look, Dej, yes, she's hot. That does not excuse a crappy character in my book.
No, it's one of those things. It really is one of those things where it's just like I don't care how hot she is. I'd rather fuck that rat than lightning because she's just so stupid and terrible. But anyway,
honestly, by that logic, she's just the waste of good character design.
That too, yeah. But
that's what the crossovers actually were for. But go on, Pedro.
Oh, by the way, here's what this say about the Saz's Chocobo chick. The chick has no name, as voicing the true identity of the animal might trigger ripples of destiny across Cocoon and cause a hurricane in Eden. Yeah, no, Joe, this is the thing.
Someone took that statement literally for the sequels.
Believe it or not,
it's... They plan what happens in the sequels with that?
No, especially because if I recall correctly, in one cutscene, one of the optional cutscenes that I hope Pedro manages to trigger, if I recall correctly, don't quote me exactly on that, Saz refers to the Chocobo chick as male, I think, when in the sequels we learn actually that it's female.
Oops.
But yeah, to recap based on these data log entries about the BIOS, Saz is actually an airship pilot, which will come into play later.
Mm-hmm.
They also had BIOS for Snow's friends, but they don't matter in any of these free games, so don't bother. As for Gallant Disley, aka the Super Pope, basically he's the bridge between Fal'Cie and humans. Apparently he's the one that gets the orders directly from the Fal'Cie, and then he comes in and explains those orders to everybody else. So Blibs and Dead, you're probably thinking, well, if the Fal'Cie can talk, then how the hell does Gallant Disley even communicate their orders? Well, we'll get into that.
And also... Sorry, go on.
Can I mention something? And don't worry, this isn't in any way related to plot, since before you guys bring it up. Apparently, at least according to TV tropes, the two biggest problems with this game are that, in terms of development problems, were they spent so much time making the Crystal Tools engine. In fact, it brought it on excessive.
Basically,
and it was. And that will somehow end up crippling 2 games, not just this one.
Oh, various games actually.
They constantly pour all their resources into what they think is going to be the next hot ticket item.
I want to reminder for those who forgot that Nier actually suffered because some resources had to be pulled in favor of this.
Not just that. Basic Edge, to give you a basic rundown, much like Sonic Forces, most of this game's development was built on the graphics engine. That's it, basically.
And as for the second problem, again, kind of like Sonic 06, the cohesive vision amongst the development team was next to zero.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll get into the specifics of that later.
Everyone kept having different ideas, and thus we end up with this again. Because that's the thing about development like this. It's one thing if it just affects one game, it's shit, but it's one and done, and you can learn from it. But that's the thing; it affected this, and it affected Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 because one thing you can say about this game engine at the very least is great for single player games. But for an MMO, it's a disaster.
Yes, basically, Dej, to give you an idea, this quote-unquote Crystal Tools engine had to power Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XIV 2, Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIV, as in 13 free, Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, and even Dragon Quest X. Because why not at this point?
And originally it was also supposed to power up the other projects from the Fabulum Crystallis.
Let's not forget
Agito and Versus.
Very quickly before we end this, to address Dwebs' remark, I'm going to get into more specifics about the development of this game, because there's even more stupid stuff with the story. But let me just say this right now. Basically, Dwebs, At no point did our team leader, Mr. Toriyama, ever at any point apparently sat down with the entire team and told them, here's what the game is going to be. Here's my vision for this game. That's the thing, apparently Toriyama didn't feel like there was a need to sit down with his team and tell them, here's what we're aiming for. So how the hell do you even make a game in these conditions? If the team leader doesn't know where we're going,
then how the hell is anyone else supposed to?
Yes, Java?
The ship. This is literally a ship with no captain running towards an iceberg, and the captain is clueless to what to do, basically.
Because he's too busy masturbating over the game engine.
Exactly. See you for the next part, everybody.
Oh god.